You join channel here over at Subscribestar. So Yellowjackets, non-binary actor. Yeah, okay. So get ready for a hot load of stunning and brave all over your face. You're gonna eat the bugs, watch the soy slop, and stay distracted by the bread and circuses. Anything to keep you away from that ultimate reality. I don't get a lot of this stuff, not because I don't understand the complex nuance, but because it's not real. It's an artificial globalist construct that the useful idiots have been brainwashed into thinking is real. The whole thing could be simplified by people. This awards ceremony, the Emmys? What is that, TV or something? What is the Grammys? Is music? What's the movies? Oscars, maybe. So I guess it's TV. By just them simply saying, "Oh yeah, we're referring to sex at the outset, not anything else, not how you view your interpretation of that." B-list actors find a way to get marginalized and oppressed, to put themselves somewhere on that hierarchy. You know, Dave Chappelle had a reference to this, and he's a weirdo in his own right. And it's kind of fun to see left wing roosters roost not where people expected them to roost. And Dave Chappelle was getting a little bit upset over that, over the limelight being taken. But he didn't really have a good way to express it, because you can't go against some aspect of cultural Marxism and like it's just a flood of culture, this Bolshevik movement. And he's trying to put his foot down and stop this. Say, oh no, this one little thing, it's taking the spotlight away from my protected interests. It's like, well, yeah, but if it's all nonsense, then like you're hating the players and not the game. You got to look at the whole game and say, yeah, it's all crap. Anyway, so the rise of the first world problems for the mediocre B-list actors, they found a new way to get some attention. What happened was they create an oppression hierarchy, then they create a category for themselves that puts them somewhere on it and at the center of attention. Is it real? None of this is real. It's all cultural Bolshevism. It's Frankfurt School Propaganda 101, but you got to play the game because they control the rules until they no longer control the rules, which means you might want to be a trans two-spirit woman of color like myself. Whatever you identify as is what you are. They believe that trans things are the things themselves. If trans X, then X. Is that logical? Absolutely not. Welcome to Weimar and enjoy the decline. If I identify as an African, Chinese, Irish, trans, lesbian woman, then in their construct, I literally am that thing. Guys, we can all be marginalized and oppressed if we feel like it. I have PTSD from inherited generational trauma of being an Irish slave and a victim of the Barbary slave trade. Nobody seems to talk about the Barbary slave trade for some reason. Imagine giving an interview and talking about not going to an awards show because, well, you're a woman, you don't want to enter as an actress. But you are an actress because you're a woman. Are we at that point where people are denying reality? Well, yes, because if they say that trans X or X, then yes, that's not that's you're saying you don't want to live in a causal universe. How does civilization go forward? Oh, it doesn't. So we're all just gonna have like this Tower of Babel where we all have different definitions. The left has one definition of racism, the right has a different definition. It's weird. There really should be different words for different things. Like, no, you don't understand. We're trying to change the language. If we can control the lexicon, then we can control the way people think about these things. Yeah, that's where we are right now, which is why we have to take the language back. And a lot of that is fighting the culture war. So you might not identify as a woman and don't want to get the award under the actress classification, but that's really, it's like for these kind of awards, why do they have separate? Why is it separated by sex anyway? But that's your internal belief system. The external reality is being your sex, and there's like people are purposely disingenuous about this, because when you talk to them on Twitter and this stuff comes up and you go, oh, we're just referring to sex, not gender. And they go, yeah, but, well, I just think it's funny. It's a straw man deflection. I go, no, we're talking about the sexual divisions. Oh, well, why do you care about that? And why do you, it's like immediate deflection to go, but I just, ask question is asked and answered, and you're immediately deflecting away from the argument because they don't have a counter argument to it, because like all of this is built on a house of sand. The thing is, do these people think that they are not their biological sex? Do they expect us to support their internal worldview? But my internal worldview is that gender is derived from sex. It's impossible to separate. Taking drugs will change the external shape. There's a Buck Owens, I think, is some woman who took a bunch of testosterone. shoot me out with DECA and D-ball and tests and growth hormone and like you know that one you don't need that stuff, uh, and you shouldn't be messing around with that stuff unless you're a professional athlete and you're getting paid to take some risks with your health. Like no no no, this is like the funny thing is it's all this construct of they think, oh, men's clothes and women's clothes. And this is the left wing people who are thinking this. They think, oh, I have to dress like this to be the opposite thing. I have, short hair and dress in flannels. And you go, why? Because in their worldview, that's how they think a man dresses. It's like, you can dress any way you want. It's just protection from cold weather from the sun. It's a part of civilization, but if you go back far enough, everyone was probably just wearing essentially dresses because it was going to be probably made out of a deer skin. But then they get on all this test, D-ball, and growth hormone, and you go, but you can, and then get body parts removed, and you go, but you could be a naked woman with all her body parts without taking any hormones and drugs. And if you identify as something else, it's like, well, it's all in your head anyway. Why are you trying to like, no, I got my externality has to match my internal worldview. It's like, why does it have to? Because you think that is what a man is. But then if the opposite, if you have a biological male identify as female, I'm saying this is like, they're kind of like, they haven't really thought this thing out to its logical conclusion. Like if you identify as something, why does the externality of it matter? It's got to match. It's like, but you're not that thing, and you're building up. You're taking these artificial drugs and hormones to create something that you're not. I got to be who I really am, but you're not that thing. Who you really are is who you really are without all those drugs, and with all your body parts intact. Like if you were accepting yourself, you would accept yourself. And nobody ever points that out because it's not politically correct to point it out, obviously. And the thing is, I don't have an issue with this community. But like just because you talk about all around the corners of an argument doesn't mean you're whatever tilting at windmill strawman version that they want to put you in. It's like, are you familiar with the idea that if you don't know your opponent's argument, you don't know your own? Nazi says what? Yeah, if you want to know all facets of the crystal, like that's a far right wing dog whistle to understand an argument from all perspectives. You bet your ass, bucko. What a strange and horrible world. You're going to live to see man-made horrors. Like, we're already seeing those. They started about 5 years ago. At least they got public. Oh, I guess Tesla was right. We're seeing them right now. I mean, if you've seen some of those, I don't know if you're familiar. I can't get into it. Go on Telegram, and you can see some before and after pictures. Really rough. They're really will cause a deep, deep sadness to see what people are doing to themselves. To see how effective brainwashing is. Anyway, so like no matter what you do, the external, you're still what you're born as. What's going on? People want to be at the center of attention. That sums it up pretty well. They created something out of nothing. Here you go. Which is clever from a business perspective to create an industry in the past 10 years, a multi-billion-dollar industry based on a psychological operation. The thing is basically the Kardashians, but it's a societal level Kardashian Bolshevik psyop. It's the new bread and circuses for the cattle debt slaves to distract themselves with. While we discuss this, your tax dollars don't go to end homeless tent cities in California, Oregon, and Washington. They go to foreign countries. And to be fair, there's nothing you could do about the direction the country is going in now, whether you're on the right or the left, because you would have to roll things back to 50 years ago, 70 years ago. You would have to fundamentally change the worldview of what people consider themselves as. So there's nothing you could do at this point but separate into different types of communities based on self-identity, identitarian interests and things. But I mean, like de facto as well as de jure, to have like hard lines around geographic areas. Because you can't, to continue to go down this path, is like people can't do anything because it's not politically correct to talk about anything, otherwise they'll destroy your life. And even the social media platforms won't allow you to have honest discussions. So the situation is already lost. It's been lost for like ever since the rise of social media, 20 years ago, the battle was over. So like at this point, like it's all deck chairs on the Titanic. This is the band playing on the Titanic, and we're arguing over the arrangements of the flower arrangements. It's truly amazing the amount of energy that goes into these bread and circuses. If I hear somebody talking about sports ball, well, I mean, I lose my effing mind. But there's a selection of us who exchange glances with each other. Our eyes widen when you hear like a normie still talking about sports ball, and like there's a collection of guys who immediately get a facial expression. They're looking around at each other, sidelong glances, and like, how do we gently bring this guy out of the matrix about the sports ball question? It's a moment because you see that like some people are still in the matrix, and you have to very carefully start pushing them out of the matrix a little bit, just like the body removing a splinter from itself over time. You have to kind of gently tease them out of the matrix. You don't want to scare them back into it. You just got to pull that fish out of the water. Like, no, there's this whole universe out here, and actually you can breathe the air if you want to. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode.